The 2022 NFL season kicks off on Thursday, August 11th, with the New England Patriots hosting the New York Giants. And while some say they won't bet the preseason, many NFL handicapping experts are betting the preseason than any other sport. The NFL preseason is $249, but you can save $100 by purchasing this package by kickoff of the Hall of Fame game on August 11th. The entire NFL preseason for just $149? Yes, football is back. This offer expires when the Patriots and Giants kick off, and your access begins the moment you sign up, so you will get any early releases the moment they are loaded.
Welcome into First Pitch for Wednesday, June 29th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Adam Trigger and Matt Josephs of WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. We're breaking down 3 games on the slate. We got best bets at the end. 3 good ones here, guys. We got the Red Sox and Blue Jays AL East battle, Marlins and the Cardinals, and the White Sox and the Angels late night. Plus, followed, like always, by best bets here. 2 of the favorites in the business. Trigger and Joseph's getting after it here, guys. AL East matchup, Boston Red Sox, Toronto Blue Jays. First game up, we're seeing the Blue Jays, Alex Manoah. This guy has been good, Trig. Minus 165 favorites. Commanding a price tag here against really a hot Red Sox team. That tough start to the season, long gone. 8.5 the total AL East battle. You like it anything north of the border, Adam Trigger?
Well, Drew, just off the top, this number seems a little out of whack. So it's not so much that I want to that I'm dying to bet against the Blue Jays. And the Red Sox have been a team that I've kind of wanted to fade. I incorrectly tried to fade over the weekend on Sunday with the Guardians. So they're a team that I did kind of see maybe having like a little slip up after starting June as hot as they did. But man, here like plus 145 on the Red Sox seems like a pretty juicy. Had the best record in the league in June. I mean, their past 14 games, they've given up 4 or more runs. That's insane. And that tells me that, somewhere along the line, the Blue Jays might give up a few runs here. And if that's the case, it could be anyone's game. And then you look at Manoah, he's just ever so slightly starting to show that he's a human being a little bit, right? 6 earned runs in his last 2 starts. I mean, he's still amazing. Like, I think the kid's awesome. But, the Red Sox have seen enough of him. So, man, plus 145 seems juicy here, Drew. If I was going to bet this game, this is not going to make my client card, but if I was going to bet this, I'd probably take a shot with the Red Sox plus money.
All right, big dog here. Maybe the dog's barking north of the border. Matt, what are you liking here, Boston and Toronto?
Well, I think anytime you look at games in Toronto, you have to look at who's not going to be there and obviously the impact that they have. And you take yesterday, Tanner Houck is not there because he's not vaccinated and they lose a game in the 9th inning. So that's a bit of a concern because it's already a Red Sox bullpen that's like iffy at best, I would say. And now you're taking away one of their best relievers and you're asking other people to step up in different roles. And obviously yesterday it didn't work out. Robles gives up the hits in the 9th and they lose the game. The other one that they're without, and so far it hasn't mattered as much is Duran, but Reef Snyder has come up and been really good for Boston, so it's kind of been even there. My concern is, and the interesting part is Nick Pivetta, and as a Phillies fan, it's weird seeing Nick Pivetta pitch as well as he is, and you look at the 2 starts he made against Toronto earlier in the year, he was better at home against them, struggled on the road against them. He is a guy who gets lots of strikeouts, so like his strikeout prop comes into play a little bit here. It's 4.5. Now the juice is kind of ridiculous, but Pivetta is a guy that's going to strike out a lot of guys in his start, but you're not getting necessarily a full Red Sox team because of the game in Toronto. And also, I just noticed Buster Olney said yesterday, if the playoffs were today, Boston would be in Toronto once again playing the Blue Jays in the postseason. And if they're without Houck and Duran, that would be interesting. But for this one, Manoah is obviously the better pitcher. The Red Sox are the better lineup. If you're going to take Boston, I would consider the run line to give yourself a little bit of support if in case Boston blows this thing in the end once again.
And Matt, I mean, great point in terms of, the vaccination thing going into, the nation of Canada and the rule that they have there. Is that something that you've noticed in? Do they get to pull up a minor league player to fill the slot, or are they going with one less roster spot when that happens?
So I believe that they're able to put them on the restricted list. And I'm pretty sure I remember noticing that that's a restricted listing, and then they call somebody up. But obviously, I mean, if Reeve
Okay.
Snyder doesn't hit very well, then everybody's going to talk about Duran not being there. But he's kind of saved Duran's butt by hitting well. So that may not be the case in October.
Okay, and Trig, anything quickly on that? Are you using that as a handicapping angle for Toronto Blue Jays home games, having like the player not there, and I guess the roster spot issue?
Yeah, I mean, if it was someone that I really felt impacted the line, and again, if it was a game I was going to make a client play on, it would play more into my handicap. The other thing that doesn't come in as much now, but early in series going into Toronto, I heard the travel into Toronto for these teams has been a nightmare. I guess they have to go to Buffalo to go in, and it's like the Yankees had a little issue, just time wise getting in there earlier this year. So that's something to keep in mind. In this spot, though, I did want to add, and I'll kind of get back to this later in the show, but I definitely, if you can deal with a little juice, Drew, I love my road teams getting that 1.5, the plus 1.5. That's something I play whenever I can. So, if you're willing to lay the minus 145, I would say Matt's probably right. That's probably the way to bet this. It's the better way to bet this game because you're getting the extra at bat with a team that could take advantage of that at bat. So, but still, I think there's some value on the Red Sox here.
Yeah, getting those extra 3 outs plus the run, guys. Look to the plus 1.5 with the road teams when possible. Huge shout out to the chat box before we get to the next game. We got Jessica in the house, Paco as well. All you guys toasty. Thanks for joining us live. Any questions are welcome. Let us know what you're betting as well. And please smash that like button if you're liking the content. We do have Jessica saying, anybody on the fish today? Miami. Well, Jessica, you're in luck. That's our next game here. Marlins and Redbirds. Matt, coming to you first. We get Sandy Alcantara on the hill off of his worst start this season. I know because I was there and I lost betting on him here, Matt. But commanding a minus $1.25 price tag. That's the Marlins. That's the Marlins. What, without Jazz Chisholm? This lineup is not very good. However, they got one of the best pitchers in baseball going. What are you liking here in St. Louis, Matt?
Well, I mean, you just said it. The problem with the Marlins, especially on the road, is you're getting the lesser lineup. I mean, there's very few teams in Major League Baseball that the Marlins are going to go to and have the better lineup. And then if they do, in that case, then I'm going to most likely be on Miami. Palante's kind of this guy that you're expecting 4, 5, maybe 6 innings. He's kind of stretched out a little bit. He doesn't strike out a lot of guys, although the Marlins do strike out a lot. So that's something to kind of look at here. But I can't bet Miami in this situation. This is a team that just doesn't give Sandy Alcantara a lot of run support. The one thing I do want to bring up is, the Cardinals have been one of these teams that you kind of look to go under their K prop. The number's 5.5 for Alcantara. And you look at this team lately, the Cardinals are striking out a little bit more. A lot of 5s, a lot of 6s and 10s in their last 10 or so games. Not saying that as Sandy will go over this number, but a usually reliable Cardinals team with regards to going unders have started to go over a little bit. And I'm finding that this is more contagious than you think as the season goes along.
Ooh, nice look there. Finding a little change in the strikeout prop market. And one thing to add to that, Matt, when Alcantara is on the hill, they tend to let him go, at 85 pitches, 95 pitches, because that bullpen isn't very good. So you'll get the extra extended start in most cases. So good look there, Matt. Trig, tough follow. What do you like in here, Fish and Redbirds?
Drew, when I woke up this morning, I thought I was going to love the Marlins in this spot. And I did WagerTalk today about an hour ago, basically talk myself off of the Marlins in any capacity while on air. And I also gave out Royals plus 103. That's a 4% client play for me. I gave it out on WagerTalk today, and it's going to start in like 10 minutes. So there's a little bonus for you. I like the Royals today. But back to the Marlins, Drew, I mean, Alcantara is incredible. You and I have been talking about this guy for a couple of years now, and he's really been good against the Cardinals. 0.99 ERA against them in 4 starts. But I can't get on this Marlins team with Chisholm out because their lineup, I mean, even though I'm not a huge believer in Palente for the Cardinals, I think he probably regresses at some point. This Marlins lineup is just, I don't know if we'll get any runs from them. So the only way could even really look at to this, to taking the Marlins would be first 5 and lay the -130, because at least I know that I'm getting, it's going to be Alcantara. He's pretty much a given to go 7 innings. So I know that if I'm going to take the Marlins and I want to bet on Alcantara and I take him first 5, that I'm at least gonna live or die with Alcantara. And hopefully he can just shut him down. And the worst thing that happens is a 0-0 score and it's a push. But man, without Chisholm in the lineup, there's just not enough for the, to want to back the Marlins. Like Matt said, you're getting the worst lineups. Like the only real redeeming quality with the Marlins, it would be Alcantara. And the Cards have won 10 of their last 11 against this team. They kind of own this team. So slight lean toward Marlins first 5, but man, there's just not enough else to like about the Marlins for that to be a strong sort of conviction for me.
Okay, we got one game left, but Trig, before we get to it, you kind of brought up a little, hey, it pays to listen here. A 4% client play. It's going, in 8 minutes? Texas and Kansas City, Greinke and Dunning. You're backing the Royals here at home?
Yeah, so I broke this one down completely on WagerTalk today. Real quick, Drew, I love the spot for the Royals. I think it's a tough spot for the Rangers. They've got the Mets coming up this weekend, which, there's not really huge series in baseball that often, but a team like the Rangers going to Citi Field, they haven't played many big series the past couple of years. I think that's kind of a big deal for them. And so I could see them looking ahead a little bit. And really, I like Greinke over the weekend. I thought he looked good in his start coming out of the month off, or the month on the DL. And he's got a 2.28 ERA at home, while Dunning has been atrocious on the road, a 6.03 ERA, and teams are hitting 3.08 against him. And then you look at the Royals, they've lost 4 straight, so they're going to have all their high leverage relievers here. I expect them to get 5 or 6 innings out of Greinke. And then at least, the Royals bullpen isn't great, but at least you're going to have their top guys here. And it's a home game. So I don't know. I feel like this game might mean a little bit more to the Royals. They called up Pasquantino yesterday. So, he's someone that they're excited about. They traded Carlos Santana to the Mariners essentially to make a spot for him to play every day. So plus 105, I think it's even money now. So I think that's just a good price on the Royals to take a shot with them at home. I kind of expect them to get one here. Again, just a spot play for me, but it is a 4%er for my clients. So figured I'd give that out before it goes off.
Nice. Paying to listen there, guys. For some day action, that goes, in 6 minutes. Matt, did you have any, were you sweating out anything in day action or anything, going here in the next hour or two?
I have the under on Taijuan Walker's strikeouts today. He just got his second one, unfortunately. It's 4.5. We'll see if the Astros can pour it on a little bit, but that's the only thing I have going right now is Taijuan Walker's K-prop under.
Okay. Well, guys, we got one nightcap, and then we got best bets at the end. We'll head out west here. Trig, coming back to you first. We get the Chicago White Sox and the LA Angels. Good pitching matchup here with Kopech versus Ohtani. Ohtani night in Los Angeles, commanding a -185 price tag, as high as -195, as you see there on the graphic. We're seeing a total of 7 in the hook. What are you liking, White Sox and Halos tonight?
So, Drew, this is a tricky game here. I kind of say that when Ohtani's running good, pitching wise, I feel like he gets way overvalued because of he's just an incredible player. But his bat is in the lineup basically every night, and I feel like that because he's so good and he's so unique that starts to bleed into the number, and it overvalues him when he pitches. So now you've got Ohtani's last 3 starts. 0.43 ERA. So you know that the number is going to be overblown on him. But, Michael Kopech has been dealing with a little bit of an injury. I guess his knee has been bothering him. So I don't know if he's at full strength here. And he's kind of struggled a little bit in his last couple times out. So, the White Sox, Drew, took more sharp money prior to the season on things like to win the AL, to win the AL Central, to win the World Series. So I've been kind of looking for a spot to jump back in with them. I have a little bit like as a buy low opportunity, but here I think the value might be potentially on the over. It's kind of low, like 7.5. You've got Tim Anderson has been just knocking the cover off the ball. He's hitting almost 400 his last 20 games. And you look at the Angels bullpen. I mean, man, like they're already like depleted and struggling. And then Archie Bradley breaks his elbow in the brawl on Sunday. Like you just can't make this stuff up sometimes. So like, and the White Sox bullpen hasn't been great either. So 7.5. We talked about these full game overs all the time and the bonus you get with extra innings if it does come to it. Over 7.5 seems light here. I wouldn't be that shocked if the White Sox got a few off Ohtani. I think the Angels are more than capable of getting, a couple off Kopech, and then you got the bullpens in the mix. So if I had to bet this one, I'd probably, take the over, and you get one big inning, you're right in it. So over 7.5 if I had to touch this game.
And Matt, you got any opinion here in the nightcap?
As he said, it's a tough one because Ohtani's one of these guys, like, in the first inning how it's going to go. If he strikes out the side in the first inning, it's one of those games like he just had against the Royals where he's going to strike out 12 and he's going to roll through the lineup. And I don't love the White Sox lineup as a whole. But then there's these games where Ohtani just goes out there and, maybe he's walking guys. I don't think we've seen one of those 6 or 7 walk games that we've seen from Ohtani in the past. So it's always a tough thing to when you're playing these Shohei games because, as Trig said, there's an extra price you pay, whether it's the money line, the run line, the K props, whatever that is, because it is Shohei Ohtani and people always think he's going to be awesome, which he's not always awesome. Kopech, as he said, is dealing with the knee injury, gave up 3 runs and 3 hits at home against the Orioles. His last 2 road starts have not been good in Houston and in Toronto. The Angels do have the guys to take advantage of this sort of thing. So it was kind of an easy pass here. If anything, and you like Ohtani, I'd isolate just the first 5, whether you take the first 5 minus a half and hope Kopech's road struggles continue. I want nothing to do with the Angels bullpen unless, like he said, taking an over. So, it's a tough day. Ohtani games are tough to bet on.
Shohei Ohtani. But, Matt, any opinion here? Do you ever bet the futures market? I mean, what about him MVP, the batter pitcher? You think that works in his advantage? Or you actually think that is something to maybe look to fade, like Trig's talking about when he's on the hill, maybe being a little bit overpriced?
Well, I think the market loves him. And it's much like any of the superstar pitchers. They always have these high numbers because everybody always thinks they do good. Like Max Scherzer and, when Clayton Kershaw was really good, there's all these high numbers. But, the Ohtani more than anybody is really all or nothing. He's either really good or he's really bad. And so you kind of have to know about that stuff early.
Good point there, Matt. Guys, huge shout out to the chat box. We got some guys in here, Raphael, Jeffrey, talking about Tampa Bay, and actually just wanted to give a shout out to Under the Radar, new show here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, digging deep into the Tampa Bay Rays and how to bet them going forward. So check that out. That's coming out this afternoon on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, Under the Radar, focusing on the Tampa Bay Rays going forward. We got Adam Trigger, Matt Josephs. Check Adam out at wagertalk.com. Guys, he's got a 5% play up going in on the other side of the world here. Some people call him Korean Adam Thursday. 5% KBO max bet up and available. He's got his detailed written analysis on that game he gave out here on the show, the Rangers and the Royals. He's also 75 and 52, 59% over 56% gain in baseball. KBO very good as well. Trig, any final thoughts here for the show, and where are you going for best bets?
Well, like I said real quick, if you missed it earlier, I do have a 4% play on the Royals that's starting literally right now. So you probably would have to in-game it if you're just seeing this, because I think the first pitch just happened. Best bet for the show, one of the games we talked about earlier. I think Red Sox plus 1.5 of the games we talked about, the games that are still left on the board for the night slate. I think Red Sox plus 1.5 would be the strongest one I see. There's a minus 145 price tag on that. And if you're not into the juice and you're looking to take a shot with a money line underdog, then I would say Red Sox plus 145 is definitely the value. in this scenario, I just think with the Blue Jays and the way they've given up runs of late, 4 or more runs given up in 13 of their last 14 games, that you could get to the end of this game and it could be a pretty, it's going to be a pretty even game. And you look at Alek Manoah, 6 earned runs on 11 hits in his past 2 starts. And the Red Sox have seen him enough where I think that this Red Sox lineup can do some damage. So really just a numbers play. We talk about the +1.5 with the road team all the time, Drew. You know that's something I really like. You get the extra at that essentially. So I'm not opposed to either. Me personally, I would lay the extra juice and play the Red Sox +1.5 if I was going to play it. But if you think the values with the money line, I wouldn't put you off that either. So I do see some value with the Red Sox in their game in Toronto tonight.
Good stuff from Adam Trigger. Also nailing a 5% play just 2 days ago on the Rockies. Hats off to him. And heading over to actually Philadelphia and Atlanta for my best bet here, guys. Wright versus Suarez. Seeing the Atlanta Braves as low as -129, as high as -135, widely available at -130. I'm looking to fade the Phillies, guys. Going back to the well here. Been doing it a couple times this week with Bryce Harper, out of the lineup with the broken hand. Look, I think that's a huge piece missing from this lineup. I don't think the betting markets have fully come in tune with that, with their bad bullpen here going up against the Braves, defending World Series champions. I think we get the better lineup, the better bullpen, just the -130 price tag here. Keeping it simple, Atlanta Braves for my best bet, minus the 130 price tag. Throw it over to Matt Josephs. Guys, check him out on Twitter at MidMajorMatt, sportsmemo.com as well. Give a little promo here for him. He's 24-15 MLB runs, 17-6 in the totals. Matt, you're killing it, man. These K-props doing really well. Any final thoughts for the show, and what's your best bet?
So my best bet's the only total I'm playing today. You got to find it on DraftKings or one of the other books. I think there's 1 or 2 others that have the first half team totals. I'm going with the Orioles over 1.5 runs for the first 5 innings. And quite simply, it's Chris Flexen on the mound. It's Chris Flexen Day in Major League Baseball. And I know he's a better pitcher at home than he is on the road. But I think the Orioles, and I looked to check because the Orioles are prone to the random midweek lineup that doesn't have their starters and their stars in it. Everybody's in, so that's good. Baltimore's averaging 2.13 runs in the first 5 innings, 2.67 their last 3 games, and 2 exactly on the road. And Chris Flexen has allowed 2 runs or more in the first 5 innings in 9 of his 14 starts. So all I have to really say is the Orioles have a solid lineup. Chris Flexen's a bad pitcher. We'll take him to score 2 runs, 1.5, over 1.5 runs in the first 5 innings of today's game, which is in about 2 hours.
Okay, I like it, Matt. I also got a follow-up question for you. Looking at your page, we got the chat box in the house. Nathan Cantor from the great state of Hawaii. We got Paco Healy, Oceanside, California. Welcome on in, buddy. We got Mark Speed and Coin in the house. Mark asking, Rocky sweep with a question mark here, Matt. And I'm looking at your free play. A little Julio Urias under 4.5 strikeouts, man. A little correlation there. Any opinion a mile high tonight, Matt?
So once again, I gave this out on Monday when I was on the show, but I like the +2.5 once again. The price is ridiculous. And I understand that's the Dodgers and their offense is awesome and Marquez stinks and all, but I got +2.5 at like -140. So, and you're giving me a bad pitcher and a bad bullpen and a really good offense against lefties +2.5. Look, they could get blown out, and the Dodgers will surely be motivated to blow them out here. But the Rockies against lefties at home, it's almost an auto bet somehow. So I took the alternate line and the +2.5, and we'll see what happens.
And Trig, what about the Rocks here going for a sweep against the first place Dodgers? I mean, you cashed a 5% on them, man. They're kind of coming out of nowhere here at home. I think they've beat the Dodgers 5 of 6 this season. What are you thinking, Mile High?
Yeah, I was all over them on Monday night, Drew. And, you texted me early Tuesday morning and said, are we back on the Rockies? And my answer was, I don't disagree with you. I don't know if I can do it. I ultimately didn't get to the window. I think you did with the Rockies last night, right? Like you cashed again. Man, they've played the Dodgers extremely well this year. And I think they're going to, if you're just looking at, they were uncharacteristically bad at Coors Field for a while. And so I almost think you can kind of bet them at home going forward.
Yeah.
And you'll probably be okay because I expect that to even out. You look at like even years they're bad, their home splits are typically very strong. So I'd imagine that like they're probably gonna win some games at Coors, and we've already sort of seen it starting. They swept the Padres, I believe, at Coors Field maybe like a week and a half ago, maybe two, maybe like their previous series there. Now playing great against the Dodgers, have played great against the Dodgers in this ballpark all season. So it's a tough. I guess it's a tougher spot, but I agree with Matt. If you're seeing a 2.5 at like -135, -140, you should just max that basically. I mean, you should just like that's like a ridiculous number. It should just be an auto bet. But I couldn't talk anyone off I wouldn't be on the Dodgers here. Like it's not gonna make my card, but I certainly lean Rockies again in this spot.
Look towards the Rocks at home, guys. Adam Trigger, Matt Josephs, I am Drew Martin. The recap for the best bets. Not sure if we got it up, but LA Angels minus the price tag for me. Don't think we have the graphic here, Matt. Just real quickly, man, your best bet.
Over 1.5 runs for the Orioles in the first 5 innings this afternoon. 2 hours is that game.
And Trig?
Yep. So if you can get on it right now, it just started. Royals are, if you can in play it, that's a 4% play for me. It was plus 103 pre-flop, and then Red Sox plus 1.5. I think there's the price tag's just a little bit high for me at -145. But if you were going to bet that game and you're okay with laying a little juice, I would take the Red Sox plus 1.5 on the road there.
Okay, I think I misspoke, guys. I'm on the Braves -130 in recap. So for Matt Josephs, Adam Trigger, I am Drew Martin. Thanks for tuning in. Huge shout out to the chat box. Like always, leave us a line below, guys. Let us know what you're looking to bet, and any questions, we'll answer them here on the show going forward. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Best of luck with your bets until then. Thanks for tuning in.
Want a free PlayStation? Yes, free. Who would have thought in November 2020, when Sony released that PlayStation 5, that we'd be sitting here almost 20 months later with no consoles on shelves and very few available with online retailers? Well, we got our hands on a disc console, but instead of teaching Present Teddy how to play NBA 2K, we'd like to send it to a loyal WagerTalk supporter. You can start earning entries now and repeat daily just by going to wt.buzz/PS5 and perform the social media task below to earn entries into our raffle. The contest will end at midnight on July 3rd, and a random winner will be announced on July 4th. Help us reach 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and grow our social media footprint, and you could be the new owner of a PS5.